you don't think about how fast everything can end. One minute you're absorbing care packages in a concrete bunker that smells like diesel and old paper. The next, the air raid siren is screaming and someone's yelling that the harbor just lit up like the sun. I wasn't infantry. I wasn't a gunner or a medic or anyone who mattered. I was Evan Cross, 22 years old, and my job was to make sure Sergeant Alvarez got his daughter's birthday card on time. But when the missiles started falling, none of that meant a damn thing. The outpost was called Station Kelos, a forgotten rock in the South Cerulean Sea, barely 2 miles across. We had 140 personnel, a radar array, a fuel depot, a crumbling airstrip that could handle turboprops if the wind was right. Nobody thought we'd see action. We were a weather station with guns, a listening post in the middle of nowhere. For 6 months, I delivered mail. I made coffee. I played cards with communications techs who hadn't seen their families in a year. I was safe. Then the war moved. 2 naval coalitions, East Kren and the Tellurian Federation, had been choking each other's trade routes for months. Posturing, sanctions, surveillance drones, but no shots fired. Until someone decided that Station Kelos was worth dying for. Whoever held the radar array controlled 800 miles of open water, and neither side was willing to let it go. We just didn't know they were coming for it. Not until 0400 hours on a Tuesday that felt like every other Tuesday. The siren started at 4:07 a.m. I was in the mail depot, alone, halfway through a shipment of letters that had been delayed for 2 weeks. I thought it was a drill. Then the windows shattered. The shockwave hit before the sound, a low, guttural roar that turned the air inside out. I hit the floor. My ears were ringing. The lights went out. Emergency reds kicked on, bathing everything in blood-colored shadows. Outside, someone was screaming. I crawled to the doorway. The harbor was burning. 2 of our patrol boats were just gone, torn apart. Fuel fires spreading across the water like living things. Above us, contrails, missiles inbound. Our air defense opened up, a desperate, stuttering roar, but they couldn't catch them all. The command building took a direct hit. The explosions sucked the oxygen out of the air. I watched the roof collapse in slow motion, steel beams folding like paper. That's when I realized this wasn't a skirmish. This was an invasion. Lieutenant Voss found me crouched behind a concrete barrier, hands over my head like an idiot. He grabbed my collar, dragged me up. "Cross, you armed? I'm the mail clerk. I don't care if you're the fucking janitor. Armory, now." The world had become noise. Explosions, gunfire, radios screaming overlapping orders. Half the base was on fire. The other half was trying to figure out what the hell was happening. Voss shoved an M4 into my hands. I'd qualified on it once, 9 months ago. 20 rounds at a stationary target. I'd barely passed. "North perimeter," Voss shouted. "They're landing fast attack boats. Hold the line until reinforcements arrive." "What reinforcements?" He didn't answer. He just ran. I reached the north perimeter with 6 other guys. Most of them weren't combat troops either. A radar tech, 2 mechanics, a cook, a logistics sergeant who was 50 if he was a day. We dug in behind sandbags that had been stacked there for show, never expecting to be used. The first boats hit the beach 3 minutes later. They came fast, low, black, cutting through the surf like knives. 30, maybe 40 troops, tactical gear, night vision. They moved like they'd done this 100 times. We opened fire. I don't remember aiming. I just pulled the trigger. The rifle kicked. Spent casings burned my forearm. Tracers lit up the dark. One of them went down, then another, but they kept coming. A grenade landed 10 feet to my left. I didn't think, I just rolled. The blast threw me into the sandbags. My ears went dead, tasted copper and dirt. When I looked up, the logistics sergeant was gone. Just gone. A smoking crater where he'd been standing. They weren't trying to take the whole base. They were going for the radar array. If they destroyed it, we lost our eyes. If they captured it, they could feed us false data, blind our fleet, coordinate strikes across the entire theater. Voss rallied everyone who could still hold a rifle, maybe 20 of us. We fell back to the array, a squat, ugly building surrounded by chain link and razor wire. The enemy hit us in waves. We held, barely. I fired until the barrel was too hot to touch, reloaded with shaking hands, watched a mechanic take 3 rounds to the chest and keep shooting until he couldn't. Somewhere in the chaos, I stopped being afraid, or maybe I was so afraid that it didn't register anymore. I just moved, reacted, survived. At 0620 hours, our air support finally arrived. 2 attack helicopters, low and loud. They tore into the enemy boats still offshore. The assault broke. For a moment, it was quiet. By dawn, Station Kelos was recognizable. 43 dead, 60 wounded. The command building was rubble. The harbor was a graveyard. But we still held the radar array. I sat on the tarmac, rifle across my lap, staring at nothing. Someone handed me water. I didn't drink it. Voss walked past, limping, half his face covered in soot. He looked at me, nodded once, and kept moving. I'd sorted mail for 6 months. I thought that's all I'd ever do. But war doesn't care what you signed up for. It doesn't care if you're ready. It just comes. And when it does, you're either still standing or you're not. They airlifted us out 2 days later. Replacements came in. The base got rebuilt, and the war kept going. I never went back. But some nights, I still hear it. The siren, the roar, the moment the world caught fire and I realized I wasn't safe. I'd never been safe. I was just the mail clerk until the sirens started.